The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to those of you watching here on our new home for iRacing Live, broadcasting the iRacing Esports Network right here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. My name is Cisco Scaramuza alongside Trevin Valderrama, and tonight we're going to bring you the first ever edition of the American Pool Supply Truck Series presented by the Championship Esports Association right here on LSR TV. It's a big night here, Trevin. Of course, the stars out in attendance here at a track that we are very familiar with, the Myrtle Beach Speedway, home to previously CEA's ongoing Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, which has now been retired. But that doesn't mean we aren't familiar with this track out here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and gonna be a fantastic race here this evening. Trevin, definitely looking forward to it. The trucks back on a short track once again.
Yeah, this just goes along with the different kinds of tracks that we have on this long schedule, and I just love the different variety of all of this. We have 200 exciting laps of beating and banging short track racing for you guys. We have a lot of trucks on track that could call for a lot of havoc early on in this race, but I'm sure these drivers will be able to handle it as they are the best of the best.
Yeah, they absolutely are, Trevin, and we welcome you into the broadcast booth. Myself, Cisco Scaramuza, Trevin Valderrama. I'll also be behind the scenes, pushing the buttons, getting the picture you see to you. So let's talk championship right now, Trevin. And I'd be remiss to say if this wasn't Seth DeMerchant's world and we're just living in it, has been dominant in this season so far and continues to hold his points gap over everybody else. But curious to see if Seth will be making an appearance here tonight at Myrtle Beach. Wasn't sure because I believe he has some business of his own, but that doesn't mean we aren't going to have some heavy hitters out here this evening.
Yeah, Seth Merchant has a size, well, I say sizable, but it's a 40-point gap, and then behind it is a 150 point gap to Tyler Dalton. Christian Peterson the second. These two drivers of Seth the Merchant and Christian Peterson have just been so dominant here in this series, and it's just awesome to see them battle week in, week out. As you said, Seth the Merchant not probably going to be here tonight, so it's Christian Peterson's race to steal, essentially looking at points, but they still have a few more races to go until halfway, so people outside of the top 5, even outside of the top 10, still have a chance to get something done and continue to try to get themselves up into the top spot, if not maybe a podium or into the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevin. And qualifying underway here from Myrtle Beach. And, well, tonight, it's definitely a increased field from what we saw last time out. And I think the biggest to note here is the fact that we do have an addition of a new driver to the series, but it is a name well-versed here on the iRacing service. Andrew Fayash III, the current driver for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series, or the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing series, I should say, driving his famed number 77 out here on track this evening. He is going to be one of the new curveballs in for Christian Peterson, and like you said, Tyler Dalton to be able to grab the win here. Some points definitely on the line with Seth the Merchant not being here.
Yeah, always nice to see a new face in these series, and always exciting to see how these drivers will react to a new driver and how the new driver will react to all these other drivers. Right now we have Ricky Harden on the pole right now, so Andrew Fayash is in third place, so that's a good starting position for him on his first trip here on the CEA Championship Esports Trucks Series.
And Myrtle Beach is a track that I've been privileged to work at both in real life and both here on the sim. A fantastic facility and one of the big supporters of late model racing out on the East Coast. So we're happy to be back here once again. One of the newer tracks here on iRacing, and Of course, has plenty of different quirks in and of itself, and we'll talk about that more as the night goes on. But just about 3.5 minutes left here in qualifying. We'll step aside here and take a moment to find out from one of our other series here on CEA what that's all about, and he'd take a moment to take a look at some of the features that we've seen here on iRacing. So we'll be right back here on LSR TV, and we'll take you to your LSR TV starting grid. All that and next right here on your home for sim racing, LSR TV, and the iRacing Esports Network.
Once again, photo finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line.
So you could do this.
3. Welcome back here to LSR TV, your home for sim racing, and just getting set here. About a minute left to go in qualifying here before we head to your LSR TV starting grid. But of course, going to be interesting to watch these trucks here, Trevin. It's shades of the 90s all over again. This is what the Truck Series was built on. And I don't know that we necessarily saw a race here. I'd have to go back into the history books and see, but definitely trucks have tested here before, and this is a very similar racetrack to other racetracks where trucks back in the 90s and the short tracks eras used to run. So definitely looking forward to the close combat that we're going to be seeing this evening.
Yeah, and it's just such a tight racetrack. It's, if there's a crash on the front stretch or the back stretch, it's just going to be a parking lot. And, most of the action does indeed happen coming out of turn 4. We've seen it night in and night out, covering different kinds of series here. And, I'm just looking forward to seeing all the battles coming out of that turn and to the checkered finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get things started, and just as we switch over, we do want to remind you that coverage of the American Pool Supply Truck Series is brought to you by American Pool Supply of Las Vegas. American Pool Supply is a wholesale distributor of pool and landscaping products. We serve pool maintenance resorts, apartment complexes, and HOAs in the Las Vegas area. Learn more by visiting them on Facebook at American Pool Supply LV. Well, time's up for qualifying. Trucks heading to your starting grid, and we'll walk you through who's going to be starting where here out on the beach at Myrtle Beach. Starting on the pole is going to be Ricky Harden. Trevin alluded to the fact that he was quick in qualifying. He'll stay to the top of the standings. To his outside, going to be Kenny Lowry in that second place position. Row 2 going to be Andrew Fash the third. We talked about him. Dustin Dean going to start fourth. Top 5 is going to have Reese Bayham there in the 5th position. Don Theodore going to start 6th. 7th going to go to James Krahula. Mike Rhino going to start 8th. 9th going to go to Derek Paulson. And Tyler Dalton rounds out your top 10.
In P11 will be Jeremy Watkins. Matthew Murphy will be P12. P13, John Magnaka. Todd Novosad will be P14. And your last car to take a time on the grid will be Paul Henley. P16 will go to Christian Peterson. Jeremy Adams, P17. Kyle Major, P18. Stephen Hollingsworth, P19. 20th will go to William Kemp. Blake Griffith will go to P21. And rounding out your 22 truck field is Jared Campbell.
And that'll round out your 22 truck field here from the beach here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And trucks getting ready to roll off here. You see the Toyota colors on that Andrew Fayas machine. But it's going to be two bow ties up at the front of the field with Ricky Harden leading them off the line. Trevin, we talk about this track and a stop for the cars, late model stock and late model stocks. We've also seen the Whelen All-American Series. The modifieds have taken to this race, and of course, the Myrtle Beach 400. But this track, all on its own, is going to be one tough track because it's a cheese grater, and that comes into account tonight, Trevin, because we only got one set of tires.
Yeah, one set of tires they can take at the halfway point, which is really difficult for these drivers. You know, I was talking to some of them in the pre-race and towards the end of practice, and they said that the tires start to deteriorate after 15 to 20 laps, and it just gets worse from there. So, watch for these drivers to search for a lot of racetrack and different areas of the track that you wouldn't normally see, just to keep their cars under them and then continue to try and struggle for handling.
Yeah, of course, Lee Pulliam got the win here in the Cars Super Late Model Tour. In the real-life side of things, basically sat in the back and just kept himself from going one lap down, but sat in the back, saved his tires till the end of the race, and came back and won here at the track that has made him so famous on late model circuits. And I have to think that strategy got to be back in the minds of some of these drivers here as we get set. First pace lap down, and pace car going to get set to roll onto pit road this time. We thank you for joining us here on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. The pace car going to hit pit road, and Ricky Harden going to pace the field through turns 3 and 4 as we get set to go green here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Truck's going to round turn number 4. There's the restart zone, and green flag going to be in there for 200 laps here at Myrtle Beach.
Kenny Lowry trying to get something done early on, but Ricky Harden will take that low line and take off with it with the second place and third place side by side going into turn number 3. Fayash will try to get that clear, but it won't happen. That's going to get a better run from Lowry on that top side, the 14 as well, trying to get something done early on.
Yeah, side by side for that third place position. Andrew Fash the third down on the bottom side. Up on the top side, it's Dustin Dean up there right against the fence. You see the fence angled. We'll talk more about that as the night goes on, but definitely one of the characteristics to watch out for here at Myrtle Beach. Off turn number 4 to complete the second lap of the day. Ricky Harden out to a very good lead early. Now it's going to be Reese Bayham and James Krahula, the Ford truck, going at it here as they come off turn number 2.
You can absolutely not miss that number 4 truck of James Krahula. He always has those neon colors, so it's easy to point him out. But right now, he is battling door-to-door with Reese Bayham as he's going to have his momentum powered up on that top side. Nearly cleared him, but the number 4 is going to get a little battle back on that bottom side. Now, you got to think, are you really going to want to keep on pushing it that hard this many laps early on with these tires that just deteriorate so quickly on this track? Because there is virtually no banking here, Cisco, compared to the other kinds of tracks that they go to. And, of course, that dog leg that's ever so characteristic here at Myrtle Beach. Just a lot of characteristics, as you were talking about here, for the Speedway. But still battling side by side. We have a battle for P2 still raging up. That's Kenny Lowry and Andrew Fayash. That new guy still showing what he's got here as he's going to try and battle it through there into turn number 1, and he does. He completes the pass for second. That was a very, very great braking into that corner, Cisco.
Yeah, it absolutely was, Trevin. And Fayash, a new face here, but definitely not a stranger to the sim racing landscape. Of course, plenty of experience back on the top level of oval sim racing. So Fayash makes quick work of Kenny Lowry there, but Lowry not going to give up as Dustin Dean right behind him as well. They head back to turn 3 and 4. Side by side, meanwhile, back in your field, it's still that battle between Bayham and the number 4 of James Krahula and the 84 of John Theodore. Teddy doing an excellent job right now down on the bottom side. Going to try and get right on the inside of the number 1 of Bayham, but not going to be able to make it work, and Teddy going to slide back to that 7th position. Wasn't able to make something happen, and now Mike Rhino right back on the bumper of that 84 machine as they come off turn number 4 to complete lap number 8 here at Myrtle Beach. And side by side once again further up the field, Dustin Dean trying to get it going on the 54 of Kenny Lowry, not able to make it work though, back towards turn number 3 and 4.
You know, just one little slip up and these drivers will be able to catch your back bumper so easily. So you got to make sure that you are so consistent going in and out of the corners and even through the corners, because, you know, easily they can get up to you and, you know, you just see that driver on your left, on your right quarter panel, and it's just so easy to, you know, slip up a little bit, as the 54 just did with opening up the door for Dustin Dean, trying to take away that 3rd position early on in this race. We'll see how that low line works out for him. That top side has really worked coming out of turns 2 and 4, but the 14 of Dustin Dean gets a little loose, and that allows Kenny Lowry to take that position back with ease, and he's going to try and run away with it, capitalizing on that little mistake. Cisco.
Yeah, absolutely. And meanwhile, the battle for that 2nd place and 1st place position, it's starting to close up a little bit. You've seen Fayash has been able to close the gap up to the leader of Ricky Harden, and Harden's going to have to go on defense here a little bit, and only 12 laps and going to complete the 12th lap here into this motor race, and Harden's going to be sweating bullets already because he's got that 77 bearing down on him. Meanwhile, battle for 3rd, down to the inside goes the number 14 of Dustin Dean. Dean going to be side by side. Just stick the nose in there on the 54 of Kenny Lowry. The bottom side's where you want to be. Well, maybe not. The top side seems to be getting the overspeed for some of these trucks on the outside. They'll hang tough up there as they head back to turns 1 and 2.
And I think it's really how you're going to run this track is going to determine how your what line is going to work for you, because we've seen a lot of drivers make some great moves on the inside. We've seen a lot of drivers get some great runs on the outside. So it's really just how you're going to run this track going into the corner to get your speed out of the corner. And you notice the number 14 earlier on ran over those little rumble strips for the pit lane exit, separating the pit lane exit from the race surface. So he got on those and it upset his truck just ever so slightly.
Oh, problems in the back. Christian Peterson very much sideways. He had been charging through the field. His truck going to skip out from under him, and just like that, he'll lose all the momentum he was going to get. We're going to take a second look at what happened there to the 23, the Global Peterson irrigation entry here. It was happening towards turns 3 and 4, and we'll see it on the screen here this time. You see the 23. We just talked about those bumps, Trevin, on the inside of the racetrack, but that really wasn't the problem. It was actually in 3 and 4. 23 just sent it in, got a little bit too much speed, and car got loose under him. Almost shades of what we saw in the IndyCar race today at Iowa. These trucks and the drivers just trying to get too much speed through the corner, and the truck just getting loose from out from under them.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw earlier on in this race as well, with up in the front, just sent it in. I believe it was Fayash, as he has taken the lead, but he sent it in and passed Kenny Lowry exactly the same way, but it was able to keep that truck under him. However, Christian Peterson, one of the best in the series, was not able to. He just got in there too hot, got in the brakes too heavy, and just sent his car sideways. Great save by him, but has allowed him to lose quite a bit of positioning, but I'm sure he's going to be able to battle back very quickly.
That battle for 3rd back on once again. Dustin Dean to the inside of Kenny Lowry. These two won't be able to leave each other, at least for right now. And finally, the Tundra of Dustin Dean going to get around Kenny Lowry, finally complete that pass after what seemed like an eternity of those two side by side, but a tenth of the way through this race so far. Dustin Dean going to make that position back up. Meanwhile, that battle between your top two is kind of evened out to about 5/10 or so, because Andrew Fayash, in all the confusion we had with Christian Peterson, was able to work his way back by Ricky Harden. The 77 is able to be out front for the first time this evening here at Myrtle Beach, and Ricky Harden back to 2nd and has not been able to keep up these last couple laps. Had evened it out a little bit to try and stay with him, but now Fayash starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
And what a statement Andrew Fayash has made here tonight, just 22 laps into this race. You know, you talk about him being one of the best on the sim racing, but we have not seen him in this series before, and we didn't know how he was going to handle all of these other drivers around him. And he's just made so much quick work of these drivers that he is really making a statement, knowing that he is here to contend. And all these drivers are looking forward and saying, you know, how are we going to get to him? We can see he's already starting to pull a gap, a 0.7 gap. It was 0.6 a few laps to go. So, you know, he's going ahead ever so slightly. We're going to see the times, again, just 0.8 now, so he's really starting to pull the gap. The 13 of Ricky Harding needs to figure out where he's running and how it's working out for him and try to mimic that or try to run better than him in the corners. It's harder than what they had 2 weeks ago with road racing, where you could just make up every single corner. Right here, they only have 2 corners, Cisco.
Yeah, and, well, that's part of it, Trevin. I think the other part of the thing we have to factor in here is the fact that Andrew Fash, it seemed like he was laying back at the beginning of this run. Ricky Hardin started to pull away from the rest of the field and was able to do so, and as a result, might have burned up tires. His caution going to fly for the first time here this evening. Possibly issues with Paul Henley, the number 16. Yep, it's going to be more issues for him. He'll go around in turns 3 and 4. We'll take a second look to see what happened to the 16. And was in line with the 82, it looks like, of Stephen Hollingsworth. What problem's going to happen for that number 16? We watch the replay now. Head through turn number 2 there, and not too many issues. It just loses the back end there. Turn number 2 at Myrtle Beach. Definitely not the first time here on LSR TV. We've seen plenty of issues with that corner, but it wasn't with the wall. Just lost the back end coming out of turn 2, and then I think just out of frustration, just panic braked right there going into turn 3. Was definitely not happy with that. Paul Henley not having a great run here, and definitely has not been a season that Paul Henley's wanted so far this season here in the American Pool Supply Truck Series. Henley, of course, came in back at the start of the season, and then we had some controversy, obviously, with 09 Motorsports pulling out of the Cars Esport Tour and some confusion there, and all of that basically going to contribute to Henley already not being able to find a whole lot of speed. And you put all that distraction in as well, Trevin, and it's just not going to do well for him, as Henley now going to go around the rest of the field here and try and get that lap back. Yeah, he will get the free pass here and get waved around absolutely everybody, but Henley definitely frustrated with that mistake here early.
Yeah, absolutely. You just can't let this be a statement of your night, though. Just a little bit of cosmetic damage. I don't know if anything else. It was a pretty hard hit, but seems to be running fine right now. But a little bit of cosmetic damage on short track racing isn't as much as a deal as it would be with a 1.5 mile track or anything else. He's still in the race. You can't let this get to your mind. You got to be able to bounce back quickly. He's top 10 in points. He's 8th right now, but I'm sure he'd love to make himself into that top 5, but there's still over half the season to go, and you just got to dust yourself off, get back, and we're lucky that didn't take out more trucks, as this is a narrow track.
Well, he's got the Turn 5 Live sticker on the rear quarter panel, so I tip my cap to him and Steve Ovens over there on that radio program. And field going to be side by side here, as no traffic to get in the way here, and that means we're going to go re-green as the trucks hit the restart box for the first time tonight. Fash out early, and he's on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air at Myrtle Beach.
We'll see if the number 13 of Ricky Hardin is going to try a different approach going into turn number 1. Meanwhile, battle between Lowry and Bayham going into turn number 3. A lot more battles as well. Christian Peterson right behind that as well. The number 89 of Jeremy Adams dove it in deep below John Theodore. Tried to get that position away. He wasn't able to make it happen. He's going to try again right now. We're 2 by 3 right now. The 54, the 1, and the 84 all on the top side. Christian Peterson still battling it out, but can't really go anywhere because of James Carhula, and the 89 can't go anywhere because he's got a truck in front of him. So they're kind of at a stalemate right now, but we'll see how long this lasts for, Cisco.
Yeah, it's 2 by 2 by 2 right in front of Jeremy Adams, who gets very loose going into turn number 1. Was able to hold on to it, though, and Adams going to stay on the bottom side now, going to inch up back up onto the main line, and he's going to get very loose. Adams fighting that Vincier Racing Chevrolet Silverado, and he'll be able to hold on to it. No contact. Also with Mike Rhino there, the Monster Energy truck. And just like that, it all goes out the window. Adams was looking to have a good restart. And he'll fall back to what has become the second pack here, kind of split up with the 89 falling off the lead pack, but back up between those top guys, and Christian Peterson working his way through this field methodically, almost like it's just a normal drive out there for Christian Peterson at this point. He started 16th, not a great qualifying effort. Of course, having to do a couple extra duties here this evening with helping the event out, but Peterson is working his way through this field. He's up to 5th right now, and we're not even halfway through this race. We're not even a quarter of the way through this race, and Peterson peeling through these guys.
And, it's just awesome to see Christian Peterson battle night in, night out, no matter where he starts. He's always going to put his fullest when it comes to race time, and I'm really excited to see if he gets up to Fayash, how they're going to battle it out amongst themselves. But right now, they're single file for the most part, looking back a little bit more, still single file. First battle we got on track that I can see is between the 5 and the 25 of Kyle Manger and Derek Paulson. Manger up into the wall a little bit. You can see a little bit of damage on that back bumper to the right, but still side by side behind them is number 82 of Stephen Hollingsworth and the 84 John Theodore, still battling it out as well. Man, piles left and right towards the back of the field, nearly a little bit of contact, possibly going into turn number 1, a little bit of loose coming out of turn number 2, Cisco.
Yeah, it's going to be all sorts of side-by-side racing and a little bit of rub in there, as well as the number 5 trying to get past Kyle Manger in that 25 entry. The P-Money Designs truck on the outside will get a little bit loose as the 5 slides up into him. Mad Dog Motorsports, he's mad right now as Derek Paulson down to the inside, still trying to make it work. They'll head through turns 3 and 4, and no, not going to be able to do so, and the 5 gets stuck, and just like that, Hollingsworth nowhere to go, stuck behind the number 5 of Derek Paulson.
A lot of these drivers back here are starting to get a little bit more loose as the laps wear on the tires. I see the number 82 starting to get a little bit more loose coming out of the corners. He's able to get to that back bumper to number 5, but out of turn number 2, he just didn't have the drive. He's going to make it 3 wide into turn number 1. We'll see how this works out for him as he gets to the back bumper to number 5, but the 82 is going to low. Oh my gosh, that was so close. He nearly turned that number 5 machine wise enough to not get to that back bumper, but was so close to making a catastrophic fail tonight.
Yeah, that may not have ended well, but it was able to back out of it, Trevin, so great decision being made by those drivers there not to throw it away, and we'll stay green as the 09 going to go around, and that'll bring out our second caution. The 90 going to get involved in that as well, Jeremy Watkins, and that was William Kempf in the me entry. It's shades of Days of Thunder, but not Days of Thunder, Talladega Nights. Come on, Cisco. But second caution going to fly here at Myrtle Beach as we'll take a second look at that, and it looks like turn 2 strikes again here, Trevin. Truck's getting loose once again coming off that corner, and I said shades of Iowa earlier, and well, that's exactly what it looked like. It looked eerily similar to the way Takuma Sato backed into the wall during practice here on Thursday, I believe it was, or Friday over at Iowa, and very similar incident. Once again, these trucks just not being able to be settled off the corner, and Trevin, I think a lot of that's going to account for the fact that they're just not able to settle coming off the corner like they would like, and as a result, truck's going to go around, but everybody looking for the most part like they're going to stay out here. Remember, only one set of tires they can use here this evening.
And they don't really have a choice until that halfway mark. But as you said, the 09 just gets loose coming out of turn number 2 and just backs into the wall. A little bit of damage to the other car, but you just got to dust it off and be ready to fight again for the rest of the night. This is really good racing that we've seen so far. Not just battling up in the front, but even battling towards the back of the pack. It's amazing, and these lap traffic hasn't become a issue so far, but waiting for a little bit longer in the race to see if we get another good green flag run, and maybe we'll see some lap traffic in there. And that always throws a shake into the mix, because drivers could use the lap traffic as a pick, as we saw earlier, as you mentioned the Iowa race. Just a lot of lap traffic happening in there, but just really great racing so far.
Yeah, absolutely, and Kyle Manger, the only driver notable to come down pit road, and with that, we're a quarter way through the race, and we're going to take us a moment to step aside here on LSR TV. We'll be right back here from Myrtle Beach Speedway. Actually, light's going to go out, so we'll have to miss that for now, and I guess we'll stay here with these guys, getting ready to restart. Pace car lights are off once again as we pace through turn number 2, and it's going to be Andrew Fash, Dustin Dean, Christian Peterson, Ricky Harden, and Kenny Lowry, your top 5. Pace car going to head in this time, and field going to be in control. Andrew Fash going to be once again in control of the field. He'll head through turns 3 and 4 and look for the restart box. You see that white line down the inside? And it's anywhere from there on, and right on that line, right before the line, gonna hit the green flag, and he's back out in front as side by side they go for second, and Christian Peterson, just like that, gonna slide back up into that second place, 16th to second for that driver of the number 23.
Great night so far for Christian Peterson. Was able to execute it perfectly to time to get around Dustin Dean before the end of the turn right there. The number 4 gets into the number 54, and James Grahula into the wall, and the 54 washes up the track. Very unfortunate. They just got together in the dog leg, and look, they're side by side again. We'll see what happens coming out of turn number 4, and the 4 washes up again. He's just really having some struggling handling with that race car tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, but able to hold on to it. Is Peterson going to make a move on the lead right now? Down to the inside of Andrew Fayash. Is Fayash going to be able to hold on to it? We come off turn number 2. Yes, he will, but the charge is still there for the driver of the 23. Christian Peterson trying to hold on. So we come off turn number 4. Going to complete lap number 49 this time. Peterson going to look back to the inside. And no, not going to be able to do it quite as we come off the turn, and Peterson going to have to sit behind the 77 as we ride here at Myrtle Beach. Your top 5 seems to have singled themselves out, so now we're going to take a moment to step aside. You're watching the American Pool Supply Truck Series right here on your home for sim racing, LSR TV, and the iRacing Esports Network. Back in a moment. Back live here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing and the iRacing Esports Network. Christian Peterson, while we were away, was able to snag the lead away from Andrew Fayash and is leading his first laps tonight here from the beach here in South Carolina. Cisco Scaramouza alongside Trevin Valderrama. We're happy to bring you tonight's coverage of the American Pool Supply Truck Series right here on the iRacing Esports Network. iRacing's home for broadcasting, and things starting to settle out a little bit. It was a pass under green, and it was fairly easy for Christian Peterson, but he lit up the tires about a lap later. Trevin got a little bit loose, but is now in command of the field here, about half a second over Andrew Fayash.
Yeah, Christian Peterson is always such a great racer for that reason. As the Fayash is into the wall a little bit, coming out of turn number 4, he's able to keep it under him for the most part, but it's going to lose a little bit of ground on Christian Peterson. But again, back to the point, Christian Peterson is able to, get towards the front of the field all the way from 16th position, but not use up the tires enough to the point where he has no truck to run with. And we've seen this happen with Andrew Fayash earlier on in this race, so I'm wondering if he's just saving those tires for the end of the run to get back to that back bumper of Christian Peterson.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevin. I think it's a case where Fayash, you have to learn from experience, and he's probably got some of the best experience out here in this field. The only driver out here with the black stripe, and of course that means he's got plenty of time behind the wheel. He knows when to pace himself and when not to overdo things, but going to get a little bit loose off turn number 2, and Trevin, I mean, we talk about his experience, but at the same time, we're also dealing with the C-Class at Myrtle Beach. This is not something you usually see on the schedule. Never mind, come back to that later. Caution back out. It's Kyle Manger. It looks like that pit stop may have hurt the 25. It put him back in the field, and problems now for the P-Money Designs entry. Take a second look at the replay here and determine what happened to the 25, and I'm going to take a wild guess that it looks like problems, actually it was problems going into the corner. We'll wind it back one more time and take a look from above here, and Manger heads into turn number 1. You see the contact, 87 of Matthew Murphy and McNaka get into it right in front of him. And then 25, I think it unbalanced the truck a little bit, and for the third time today, caution going to come out right in the same place. Turn number 2 here at Myrtle Beach, and 3 trucks have gone for the spin cycle this evening, and we're starting to sense a pattern here. I think the handling's starting to fall off a little bit for these guys.
Oh yeah, the handling is always going to be a topic for these kinds of tracks and these kinds of races. As you know, he's just reacting to what it was before, and I think he just got on the brakes a little bit too hard going in the corner, and he just didn't have it coming out of there. And I said coming out of turn number 4 is going to be all the action, but it seems to be the turn number 2 is where everything is happening. So, you know, more eyes focused on that coming out of the corner. You just got to make sure that your truck is under you so you get a great drive off the corner, and even if you're in the great pack, so you do not cause a big one. You know, it's just going to get more and more intense as the race wears on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peterson at this point still in command, but you can see a little bit of damage on that truck. He had to come through the entire field pretty much, Trevin. 22 trucks out here this evening, started 16th. So Peterson's got to be feeling at least a little bit fatigued, but what seemed like it was going to be a long night for the 23, not going to be the case here. Is Peterson going to lead the field? How about a great run for Kenny Lowry right now, who's still sitting in that 5th position and started 2nd, but has been able to kind of stop the bleeding for right now. Trevin has only fell about 3 spots and has been in contention. I was about to jump into him because he was side by side with Hardin, Adams, and a couple more of these trucks, and right when that caution came out, so we didn't get a chance to look at him. But as things sit, looks like actually problems for Reese Bayham. It looks like he's going to have some issues here. Looks like localized to his kind of area, because he's not only fallen out of the sim, but also fallen out of our TeamSpeak server this evening. So it looks like Bayham having some issues on his side, so unfortunate for him, and he might have to call it a night here this evening. I know thunderstorms in a couple places here this evening, or maybe the heat as well. We'll have to see if we can find out what happened to Bayham. But trucks doubled up here as we get set for the 2nd restart on the night. Field in control from Christian Peterson. They're going to roll back off. Green flag in the air. 3rd time this evening. It's gone in the air after the initial start. And just like that, Peterson, another truck length or so. But Fayash not going to be able to make it so easy there. Will be able to clear, though, is that 14 of Dustin Dean. Hardin still stuck on the outside, and there's Jeremy Adams still fighting a very loose condition, able to hold on to it, but side by side with Grahula.
And Jeremy Adams is really making me remind of how Christian Peterson was running this race. You know, he was just battling so hard, driving into each corner so hard. So, you know, this is really reminding me of how he did it, but he was doing it on the inside. Jeremy Adams is having a little bit more tougher time on the outside, battling next to James Grahula side by side, going into the corner, and, you know, it's just really not going to work out well. He needs to get in line and try to get a nose under James Grahula if he wants anything to happen, but he has a good drive coming off the corner, but just James Grahula has a better drive on the bottom as we have a caution out, Cisco.
Yeah, caution back out once again. Matthew Murphy, the 87, running into issues, and take a wild guess where that happened, Trevin.
I'd say turn 2.
That would be correct, but looks like bigger issues for the 87 this time. I saw that truck hopping. We'll have to wind it back and figure out what happened. You see him side by side here on the replay. He goes underneath, already loose going into turn number 1, right underneath the 5 of Derek Paulson. And, yep, 87 just going to go around turn number 2. He nearly rolls the truck over, hit the inside wall with so much force that it kind of flipped the truck over, but was able to hold on to it, and nearly massive issues there for Matthew Murphy, but luckily for him, able to hold on to it and keep that truck grounded in one way, shape, or form. That'll bring out our third caution here this evening. Lap number 71 into the books here this evening, Trevin. So we're already past a quarter distance, and it's really been the story of Christian Peterson forcing his way back through the field as per usual. That's not really unusual here in this series. But what has Andrew Fayash been able to do coming into tonight? We've talked already about the road that he normally goes on, but the left turn here into the American Pool Supply Truck Series, and showing great promise and great speed here this evening.
Yeah, Andrew Fayash has put on an absolute clinic, leading a couple of laps, and now he's hanging tight in second place with a qualification of third place, which is amazing for somebody coming into the series tonight, and making great analysis on how the other drivers are driving around him and knowing where he has to apply himself and where he has to be better. He just needs to get a little bit better on those restarts, and I'm sure that him and Christian Peterson will be side by side going into turn number 1 and turn number 3. So just looking for him to execute a little bit better on those restarts.
And Trevin, why we talk about this so much isn't necessarily the fact that he has the experience level, because we've seen drivers in this situation before. Logan Clampett started a race in the Cars Esport Tour last season to try and get one of the bouncy purses on the rest of the field, but wasn't able to make it happen. So we've seen drivers in the past come in, load of experience, all the expectations in the world, and not be able to deliver. We've seen kind of similar results with William Hale, who we knew coming in there was going to be one of the real-life super late model drivers who spends quite a bit of time on the iRacing service, and we expected to see him up front all the time, but just it hasn't gone the way he's wanted to this season. You can have all the talent in the world, but any given Sunday night, at least in this series, anything can happen. So Andrew Fayash has to do everything he can, and like you said, analyze the drivers around him to figure out where he can run the best.
Yeah, and exactly as you said, it could be you're the best guy on the server, but coming into tonight and coming into a new series, you just have a different feeling going into it, and it's just all different around you. As you pointed out earlier, it's a different series, so it's C-Class. It's not what he's used to running.
Yeah, it's C-Class, and it's C-Class at Myrtle Beach, which is a whole different ball game when it comes to racing here on iRacing. Pace cars in, green flag back in the air, and Christian Peterson going to roll away. Lap number 74 going to go into the books. Peterson retakes the head of the field, and Fayash not able to get away this time. Dustin Dean going to stay with him here on the inside. Dean going to drag race back to turn number 3.
And I think that's where Christian Peterson really shows his power the most, is on every single restart. He just gets such a great jump. Always catches second place and third place sleeping. You see the gap already on him. So it's just every single time he's just so great, as the 14 and the 13 are just going to battle down the back stretch, and we have a quick caution.
Caution back out here on the Speedway, and issues with Tyler Dalton. That's going to be huge in the championship, and it's between him and possibly Stephen Hollingsworth. We'll have to take a second look at it, but that is huge implications going into the championship. Tyler sitting third overall in points, cannot afford to have a bad night, considering this is a huge night for him to pick up points. But it looks like issues, and it looks like it was a long issue with the 19. You see him get into the double O there of Blake Griffith, and he'll get loose and go the inside, and then Stephen Hollingsworth, for whatever reason, that truck just absolutely loses control, and he'll get into the 19, and what seemed like already a bad incident for Dalton gets a whole lot worse. Stephen Hollingsworth completely out of Dalton's control, just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, these trucks are just losing so much more handling as the laps were on. This is already lap 78 on their tires, and it's just gets so close to where you're coming off the corner and you're trying to handle that car ever so slightly, and then once you get the slightest bit of loose inside the corner, we've seen it with the majority of these cautions going into the corner just a little bit loose and trying to catch it all the way through, and you're trying to put that power down at the same time. It's just so hard to handle it, and you're going into that wall with such great force because you're spinning and you are out of control.
Well, Todd Kirkwood, who's watching, who's the sponsor on board that 19 as part part of the guys on the team there as well, and not happy with that one. And, well, unfortunately, Todd, there wasn't a whole lot Tyler could do there. Just an unfortunate series, and he's going to sit on pit road, get some damage repaired. That truck already going to go a second lap down here if he does not leave pit road, and already been on pit road for over a minute itself. So Tyler Dalton going to have to do a lot of picking up the pieces here. Could have been a really good points night here for him with Seth not being here, but as it sits, looks like Christian Peterson sitting in a very good position and probably positioned to take over the points lead and when we leave Myrtle Beach, but Dalton able to leave pit road that time. And right behind him, you see the 90 of Jeremy Watkins, another driver, Trevin, who has not had a good evening at all. The 90 has absolutely been fighting that truck. Started 11th and has fallen back to 19th. And luckily, I think is still technically on the lead lap. We'll see when they cross the line here on the scoring. Yeah, he's still being shown on the lead lap, but has been a cavalcade of issues for that number 90.
And, that just goes to show you can have a great time in qualification, but once you go out on the track and around, 21 odd number of trucks, it's a whole different ball game trying to battle against all of these other drivers. And, one could have a bad qual session and then just know that they have a good truck for that long run. And, it's just really hard, especially with handling these trucks left and right.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But pace car lights off once again, and field going to be in control of Christian Peterson. Christian Peterson's going to be in control of the field. How about that? A little bit of reverse psychology on myself there. I'm losing my mind here, but that's because the racing has been fantastic from Myrtle Beach. And just like that, Christian Peterson going to kick it all back off. Green flag back in the air. Lap number 81 into the books here of 200.
And that 14 of Dustin Deed kind of had a better jump on it. He's able to get to side-by-side with Andrew Fayash. Really good jump. He kind of predicted when Christian Peterson was going to go based off of the other times that he went, and he just got a better jump, and he's still side-by-side. Usually Fayash would be second, gone by now, but now 14 is going to drop behind Fayash as we have a little bit of jam behind him, 3 wide. Behind him, and the 89 is going to attack the 54, and Kenny Lowry is going to go around right in front of the number 89 of Jeremy Adams.
Well, we saw somebody try it earlier, Trevin, and you about jumped out of your seat because you knew that wasn't going to work, and unfortunately, I think Jeremy Adams was about 12 steps ahead of where he wanted to be on that one. You see the 89 jump to the inside. He was thinking all inside. He was thinking, I'm going to pass 2 trucks in one move, and before he got the chance, just very slight contact with the 54. He's going to go around, and, well, we didn't see 4 wide. 4 wide nearly didn't work at Iowa, and I'll tell you what, 3 wide probably not going to work here at Myrtle Beach, except if you're in a Pontiac Solstice, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, and kind of the mix of problems that happened was that number 13 on that top side, he kind of came down a little bit, but then again, the 89 really didn't have to force that issue right there. He could have just stayed right behind that number 54, but, just a whole entire conflict of incidents that happened, and unfortunately 54 got the bad end of it, and 89 just gets a little bit of scrape.
Well, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised by that. Myrtle Beach is definitely not the widest track in the world, so unfortunately for Adams, he's going to have to start all the way from the back. Aggressive, though, tonight, so I would not be surprised if we have not heard the last of Jeremy Adams before this evening. But lap number 86 on the books right now, so we're going to take a moment to step aside. You're watching the American Pool Supply Truck Series right here on your home for Sim Racing LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Be back in a moment. The Audi R18, one of the newest cars here on the iRacing service. As we bring you back to Myrtle Beach, we're going to go re-green here as the trucks continue to tear it up. Cisco Scarmuza and Trevin Valderrama around to bring you all the action as the green flag back in the air. And once again, Dustin Dean, fantastic restart on the inside. And Trevin, it's almost shades of a restrictor plate track at that point, what we saw Saturday night, because Dustin Dean being behind Christian Peterson, he's getting a little bit better of a read than Fayash is right now.
Yeah, and it's just the point that, Christian Peterson has been doing so many restarts here tonight that he's just really starting to realize when he's going, and he's able to predict.
Oh, big problems. Oh, there is a huge pile up in turn number 3. A bunch of trucks around. I saw the 25 of Kyle Manger, and just like that, the nightmare gets worse for Kyle Manger as we're going to take a second look at it, but unfortunately for these guys, that was a lot of trucks, and looks like it's all going to start around the 00 here of Blake Griffith. We'll take a second look. And no, that was the 09 of Kemp, gets in the wall, checks up. McNaka, I think, freaked out. And as a result, it's carnage in the back. Jeremy Adams, we saw him after the last incident. Things get only worse for the 89. And oh dear, just like that, plenty more torn up sheet metal here at the beach.
And, it just goes back to the point that this track is so thin. One truck turns around, you're going to have a whole bunch inside of you, and, it's just really hard to avoid these wrecks when there's just cars flying all around the track. And, bent up sheet metal, again, we're not really the problem here. It's what's internal, because, bent up sheet metal can be exactly what is expected to come out of short track racing. It doesn't really matter, but internally, if the car is not handling as you want it to be, it's going to get a little bit more dicey.
Yeah, and we look at the onboard from Kyle Manger. Nothing he could do at all, gets bumped in the back, and just like that. And it's not to say that Myrtle Beach isn't the thinnest track in the world either, because it's certainly not a Langley Speedway or a Carteret or something like that, to where it's narrow. But we're racing full-size Camping World trucks here, not super late models, and definitely not anything smaller like a street stock. So all of a sudden, the real estate you have to work with, Trevin, especially on the line here that you're gonna want to use, you just don't have the room.
Yeah, and it's something that you have to prepare for, and it's something that you have to look ahead of the track for, and you just got to be ready to, make a evasive move at any point in the night. And John McNaka, Kyle Manger have both called the night and pulled their trucks behind the wall.
Yeah, McNaka already not having a great night, and Kyle Manger just nothing going right for the P-Money Designs entry. He's going to pull it behind the wall, like you said. But take a look and see what everybody's saying over on the chat side of things. Joshua Kane asking, would anything work 3 wide here? Well, Trevin, we have some experience with that, so I think we can agree that the Solstice works around here 3 wide, but that kind of a odd case in general. Todd Kirkwood, Jetta? Yeah, I think the Jetta would work too, but I know, Trevin, you and I have both tried our hand at driving around here in that Solstice back during the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series days, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
the Solstice can go 3-4 wide here, but only if you do not have commentators who should stick to up in the booth instead of being down inside of a car. Once you get us into the mix, it gets a little bit hairy.
Well, I think honestly, because he's not here, we could say Evan was the biggest problem when it came to that, because I led some laps, you were fine, and you got taken out in a wreck that he caused. So, I mean, Evan Pasoko, kind of a weapon out there on the racetrack. But field going to be single file. This is the rule we have at CEA. We've had enough wrecks in a row where the admins have decided you guys are going to have to restart single file because we want you to calm down here. Lap number 95 going to go in the books, and Christian Peterson back on in front here at Myrtle Beach.
And this is the point where Andrew Fanash is going to have to put pedal to the metal, because he only got about 2 laps until the halfway point, and they can put fresh tires on. So just use all of those tires up that you have, and then you'll be good to go for that second stint, says so.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevin. And off turn number 4 this time, and Fayash doesn't really have to worry about Dustin Dean as much this time, because Dean not going to be able to get the jump that he has been getting, but we're going to get our first side-by-side back in the field. Hello, it's the 06. Gerald Campbell going to have a handful there. The TRD entry holds onto it, but got real sketchy there going through 1 and 2. And luckily, James Grahula, who is right on the outside, is caution going to fly again. And looking back in the field, what brought this one out? as we cross halfway, and it's going to be the halfway break here. Trevin, caution going to come out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I pointed out. Just you're going to have the halfway point, and now everybody's going to be able to come down for gas and tires, and you're going to see everybody use all of those 4 tires and be breathing a sigh of relief, knowing that they're going to have the car back under them and hopefully continue to push on for the rest of this 200-lap main event.
As I'm now being handed about 20,000 papers that says, Cisco, there was a halfway break. You don't have to worry about tires, but Christian Peterson just accidentally rolled through his pit stall here, so that's not going to be good for him. He'll have to back up and get service to that truck later on. But, yeah, no, pat on me on that one with these guys with the halfway break. It makes it easy to figure out, Trevin, when you're going to take tires. It also explains why these guys were kind of going crazy there on some of these restarts coming to the halfway break. Peterson, though, going to be unopposed here as we leave pit road. Maybe not. Hello, Andrew Fayash. Enter stage right. That shakes up absolutely everything. A dynamite pit exit by Andrew Fayash.
That was just amazing. That just, I believe, goes along with Christian Peterson just overshooting that pit stop. You can see that even the slightest bit of half second that you had to react to reverse it and get back in that pit stop cost you 1 position on the track. Even 3 positions on the track, actually, as Tyler Dalton, Andrew Fayash, and Ricky Harden are all in front of him.
And we see Fayash waiting for gas, and oh, it's so close there, and Ricky Harden nearly got them both. But that's how pit road works here. I mean, this isn't, your ISC, your normal cookie cutter where it's a straight shot pit exit. It acts almost like a bit of a Martinsville to where it's curved, and Fayash used the opportunity, had the pit box there to the inside, able to have a straighter line on pit exit, and just like that, 77, using a little bit of cunning to grab that lead away, and Ricky Harden only too happy to oblige to take second away, and Christian Peterson, just like that, going to fall back to third. But let's run you through your full race rundown here, presented by iRacing, the world's premier online racing sim, with professionally online sanctioned racing from the likes of NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, the Cars Tour, and many more. Andrew Fayash right now continues to lead, Ricky Harden running second, Christian Peterson third, Dustin Dean fourth, James Krahula fifth, sixth going to go to John Theodore, seventh to William Kemp, Gerald Campbell eighth, ninth going to go to Mike Rhino, and Blake Griffith rounds out your top 10.
P11 will go to Jeremy Adams. P12, Kenny Lowry, Tyler Dalton. P13, 14 will go to Todd Nosad, Matthew Murphy. P15, P16, your last car on the lead lap, Derek Paulson, Jeremy Watkins. P17, Reese Bam. P18, 19th will go to Stephen Hollingworth, Kyle Manger, John Minaka, and Paul Henley. Round out your 22 truck field.
A little bit of rush there because the pace car hits pit road. That mid-race rundown brought to you by iRacing. Fayash going to look for the restart box. There it is. Green flag back in the air, and he's gone. And just like that, the advantage that had been helping Fayash now going to help Peterson, as Peterson going to make his way about Ricky Harden, this time for that second place position.
You just got to see how these drivers are going to be able to handle with these new tires, if they're going to be able to, continue to push harder, if they're just going to save these tires for the end of the run. Right now, you see Christian Peterson pushing hard on those tires. He's going to take second place away, Cisco.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like that, you go into the mode of, do you want to burn up all your tires here, Trevin, or do you want to wait and try and save them for later? We'll have to see what the strategy is going to be, but Peterson staying with it. Is Dean not going to wait? Down to the inside of Ricky Harden, the 13 machine. They're side by side for third. Easy pass there for Dean.
And as a driver, when those tires really gave up you on the first stint. So never mind, we have a caution coming out.
Problems. It's William Kemp, the 09, going to go around again, and this time it might be Terminal. The number 1, Bayham, he was back in this race, was able to recover from his issues. But just like that, that truck going to get torn up, and we're back under caution. And I saw the 09 get loose out of the corner of my eye. Let's see if that's what the issue indeed was. See the 09, the 06 going side by side at it, those two Tundras. I'm going to go out on a limb and maybe say those two are teammates. We go back to turn number 1, and 09 hits the bumps. Oh boy. Trevin, we can talk about that all night long, but it hasn't been a factor until tonight. Reese Bayham nowhere to go and just plows right into Kemp there. But those bumps, very unique to this racetrack, and well, tell us a little bit about them, Trevin, because like I said, you don't see those everywhere.
No, absolutely not. You see these only here that I've covered this whole entire LSR TV production, and it's really thrown a curveball into all of these drivers, and just get one tire on there, and you just saw what happens as a result of that. You could try so hard to pass down low, make it 3 wide, but if you hit those bumps, you're going straight up the track into the other trucks. So you just got to be really careful when you run on those bumpers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're somebody like William Kemp, you're just trying to do a little bit too much at that point. Kemp had been up and down the field all day, started in the back, started 20th, was up, back up, kind of running top 15, and then unfortunately that's going to be some big-time damage. We saw the smoke pouring out of the engine on that machine, but with that, everybody going to pace behind the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace cars. We'll take a moment to catch our breath here on LSR TV and go non-stop so you don't miss a moment of the action. You're watching the American Pool Supply Truck Series right here on your home for sim racing, LSR TV. We're side by side. Back live here, pace cars in, and Andrew Fash going to lead the field back to the start-finish line. Single file restart here from Myrtle Beach, and he'll take the green flag to start lap number 112 here from Myrtle Beach. And Christian Peterson going to stay with him here as we run off turn number 2.
And I really like what the CEA series has done with this. If you get too many cautions, they're going to say, all right, we're going to put you guys single file to calm down a little bit. This will help for better restarts and not as chaotic as they were earlier on. But, the front runners aren't really going to like it, as they aren't going to have a better spot going into turn number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Fash loving it, though, because he was able to get out to a decent gap over Christian Peterson, but Peterson not going to wait down to the inside off turn number 4. Not quite able to make it happen, but now he'll try back to turn number 1. Peterson down on the inside, desperate to make it work. Fash using that middle line to try and get the overspeed, and it's working out for him right now, Trevin. It looks like he just has a little bit too much corner exit to be able, for Peterson to be able to stick a nose in there.
Yeah, and Ricky Harden, the number 14 of Dustin Dean, also trying to do it, as Christian Peterson's going to try and use up some of his tires to make a pass early on in this race. Going into turn number 3 now, it's just going to get a little bit more harder as the night wears on for Christian Peterson if he continues to stay on this bottom side.
Yeah, Peterson going to be wasting away the tires. You see Fash all the way at the opposite end. He's going to miss turn 1. Really out to the outside this time, but Fash, you have to think Trevin saving some tires on the outside, might be in a better position than Peterson when it comes to late in the run. But as it sits, the two side by side at the line, Peterson gonna get that lap by nose.
And I think what he wants to do is just get past Fayash first and then conserve tires later. I think he knows that he can get in front of him and just continue to block and make sure that he is getting better corner exits. But Fayash, we've seen how he can handle those tires from that first stint.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peterson going to complete the pass this time, so the 23 going to be able to pull back in front the 77, but we'll see how long that lasts. Fash, though, right back on the back bumper, and you can see him running a little bit of a higher line, Trevin, so we'll have to see if that pays off for him as the run goes on. Meanwhile, Dustin Dean, sitting in third, has been able to keep pace with these guys. They've been side by side, so it's been a little bit easy for him. And meanwhile, side by side back in the rest of your field, it's James Krahula going at it against Mike Rhino there. That's for the 7th place position here on track.
Yeah, and these guys are just going to keep on battling it out, and it's only going to get more and more intense as the night wears on. We've already seen a couple 3 wide, and that was before the halfway point, so I can only imagine what it's like. And Jeremy Adams also moving his way back, trying to move his way back up to the field. He's in 11th right now with a little bit of bent up sheet metal. A lot of these cars actually have quite a bit of damage to their right or left side, and it's just going to get more and more bent up as the night goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. 120 in the books now as Peterson continues to fight off Fayash. Dean, that's your top 3 right there. Ricky Harden as well, sitting in that 4th position, kind of watching it all take place. And Grahula and Rhino still going at it. That's kind of where everybody's sitting at the moment. Your kind of mainstay players, and this is your best battle on track as Grahula is still trying to make the inside work.
Grahula continues just to battle it out, as you know, we already saw this happening with Christian Peterson and Andrew Fayash, just using those tires up. We see a lot of drivers running that high line conserving, and we've seen a couple of drivers using their tires early on to try and defend once they get their position.
Yeah, Grahula is still working to the inside of Rhino and going to be able to complete that pass that time. So the 4 are going to move up to the 7th place position, and 22 going to fall back to 8th, and they'll have more to worry about because back there is going to be the 00 Blake Griffith and then Kenny Lowry in that 54 back there as well. New battle starting to brew, and Teddy John Theodore right now going at it with Gerald Campbell. Campbell trying to take that spot away, and Teddy's been having a decent run all night and kind of has been that sort of season for John Theodore. A decent season for the most part. Has been in contention for the most part kind of all season long. Just things haven't gone well for Teddy as far as the way he wants them to work. Not gotten the points finishes that he's wanted, and currently not in your top 10 when it comes to points. But that being said, he's streaming it, he's having fun, and he's sitting 5th right now. So I think he's pretty happy right now, Trevin.
Yeah, and I think Christian Peterson is really liking his position right now, because at the end of the night, he's going to close that gap up to Seth the Merchant from 5th or from 1st place. He's still 40 points behind, but you know, any points that he can get early on in this series will benefit him in catching Seth the Merchant for that points championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and Peterson definitely going to have his eyes on his teammate, who is the current points leader right now. Lap traffic up to the outside. That's the 90 of Jeremy Watkins, as Andrew Fayash going to roll around him, as is Dustin Dean in the 14. But caution flag going to fly here at Myrtle Beach. Problems for the number 5 of Derek Paulson, who's slow on the racetrack. We'll take a second look and figure out what happened to him. And the Pentair machine, see what happened with him, and turn 1 actually going to strike him. It looks like he was kind of all by his lonesome back out in the middle of nowhere, and turn number 1 just missed the turn or something didn't work right, but noses it into the outside wall. You see the 87, Matthew Murphy, and the 60 to Henley. Those two, because of that traffic, going to trigger your caution despite the fact it was a 1-car incident. Just like that, back under yellow here from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it's as well, you know, it's already 28 laps into this run, and you know, tires, as we were talking about, go away after 15 to 20 laps. So we're already starting to see a little bit of trouble that drivers are having, as we just saw going into turn number 1. It was really hard for that driver to hold it under him, and just got a hard lick into the wall, and just continuing to battle left and right. And you know, all these drivers are just going to have to continue to keep these trucks under them. This caution period will be able to cool these tires down, and they also have to be careful with restarts not to spin the tires after using so much rubber.
Well, he led the first segment, as it were, and then came down pit road and to work his way back up to the lead. But see if we can key the radio on the number 23, Christian Peterson. It's Cisco and Trevin up in the booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Well, Christian, I mean, it's basically been a battle between you and Andrew Fayash, Dustin Dean, some of these trucks at the front, but what's been the biggest challenge for you out there? Great job early, but what do you need to do to get it done here?
The biggest challenge is probably trying to be the official and drive at the same time, but we're doing a good job, and these guys behind us are having fun, and Andrew's been a threat, but just trying to keep the right rear on it. It's really free, but yeah, it's just it's actually real easy. You drive the truck, it's not easy to drive, but if you drive the truck easier, it pays off a lot better, and you go faster, and it seems to save the truck. So I'm just trying to be disciplined and drive to what the truck wants, and not how fast it can go.
Well, you got plenty going on here, Christian, so we thank you for catching up with us real quick. Good luck the rest of the race.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Christian Peterson. Right now, your leader here was able to get the first stage, and right now sitting in a very good position to walk away with some great points on the evening over his teammate of Seth the Merchant. Lights back out here, Trevin. Fash to the top side, and it's kind of back to the bog standard we had for a while. Fash starting up in the top, and Dustin Dean starting on the inside of row 2.
Yeah, it's just going to be another great battle coming to this restart, Cisco.
Pace car going to head in, and Christian Peterson going to wait for the green light this time. You'll look at there's a little bit of a red mark there on the inside, and then that line, that's the restart box, and Christian Peterson hammers it right there as we go re-green from Myrtle Beach, and Dean once again going to try and put up a fight with Fayash as we leave turn 2.
Fayash is really liking that high side. It's been working in for him all night long as we see 3 wide into turn number 3 with John Theodore right in the middle of the mix. They all settled down. That's the 22 of Mike Rhino on the bottom. Oh, and contact! And he's going all the way down. I feel like that was the result of going 3 wide at the start of that corner.
And there's one truck upside down. It's Blake Griffith, and oh dearie me, that is a pileup out there on the racetrack. Caution back out, and well, let's just see what happened here. But like you said, 3 wide off turn number 4 doesn't really work too well, Trevin, and we look, 22 gets hooked by the 19 of Dalton. Not really anyone's fault there. The 00 just pounds the inside, comes right back up the racetrack, gets flipped over. And that, along with the 22, the 34, I think Bayham somehow missed a lot of that, but lots of carnage here at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, and the 22 had to get off the gas and, kind of went further down because he knew that 2 trucks were up there. So he got off the gas, got a little tap from the 00, and, maybe upset his truck just enough, and the 19 came down. It was really just the perfect storm, Cisco.
Yeah, and you can see on board from Bayham's view, just a huge impact for the 00, but great job by Reese to get that truck locked down and not have too many issues with getting into people. So going to roll over those bumps and miss the wreck here, but it's been kind of carnage fest out there this evening here, Trevin, and we knew coming into the short track that this could be a possibility, and I don't think anybody thought it was going to be this bad, but I think turn number 2 playing a lot of issues for a lot of guys this evening.
Yeah, it's, again, just the interesting, car track combos that they have in this series. We've already seen an interesting one with Virginia, Knoxville, USA Speedway. It's really interesting to see these drivers battle with all these different types of tracks, Cisco. It's really exciting with this series.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And to mix things up even more, we're not going to anything close to this next time. Going to be heading to Gateway for 125 laps, the track just outside St. Louis. So looking forward to that on July 22nd. And after that, back to the short track at South Boston, Richmond, and then Eldora to round out August. That is going to be a fantastic race, Trevin. The trucks at Eldora, I mean, it's become a staple mark of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and we got it added to the sim here with the addition of dirt, and I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah, and the next 3 races are all different kinds of tracks, and yeah, as you pointed out, South Boston, it's really narrow, but also the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Speedway is going to be a great race to watch. You aren't going to want to miss that one.
Yeah, we're not going to be leaving Nevada for half of October. Going to be running at the big track, Las Vegas, on October 7th. And then the Bull Ring, just not even down the road. It's on the same address, I believe, as LVMS, but we're going to be heading there October 14th. So interesting lineup there. And then we go to Martinsville and ISM and Rockingham, and sprinkled between that after Eldora, it's going to be Moe's Sport, the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Irwindale, New Smyrna before we hit the Las Vegas block, and a couple more races we do have to make up. Still have to make up the Iowa race as well as Milwaukee. Looking forward to doing that. But the pace car going to head back to pit road, and field going to be in control once again of Christian Peterson. Single file restart to get back to the line here. Lap number 138 going to go into the books, and back green here at Myrtle Beach.
They still have over 50 laps to go, and you just see the amount of intensity that we're seeing. The 3 wides already happening, and these drivers just need to settle down a little bit more until we get to about 25 laps to go, and then that's where it could happen. But I think these drivers are really just trying to push it towards every single one as more cautions could come out to advance their positions on the restart.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yellow fever, has been put away, at least for the moment. Nobody getting too crazy out there, and several drivers have parked up behind the wall. Novosad, Henley, Hollingsworth, Kempf, Manger, and McNaka, 6 trucks out this evening, and Blake Griffith's still sitting on pit road, as is Matthew Murphy. So a lot of trucks down on pit road. Also Jeremy Adams down on pit road as well. But I think the attrition is taking hold of some of these drivers, and everybody looks to be fairly calm through your top group, all the way back to about James Krahula, and that's your first pack, and then kind of a scattering of trucks after that. Mike Rhino, Tyler Dalton, but the battle for the lead is going to be on. Fayash not done yet.
Christian Peterson went up way high exiting turn number 2, and that just opened the door for Andrew Fayash. You got to think, is Christian Peterson really conserving his tires right now, because he went way up the track to a different line that he hadn't run all night? So is he just letting Andrew Fayash go and let him use his tires to give him an advantage towards the end of the race?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Fayash down on the bottom side making it work, and you can see basically even with Peterson at the line, they've switched roles, because Peterson got the lead down on the bottom side and contact in the back, but we'll stay green at least for the moment. Battle for the lead continues back to turn number 3, and Fayash able to hold on to that position. Can he slide job it off of 4? No, not quite. He's going to need a little bit more speed to be able to do that, Trevin.
Yeah, that contact that you mentioned, and then back the 84 just bumped right into Kenny Lowry, just did not break at all. But back to the front, still side by side. I think Christian Peterson might be forcing him down to that bottom lane to just continue to use his tires up, so he doesn't really have anything to work with towards the end. But now Andrew Fayash letting off a little bit more, trying to fall back in line, quite possibly. No, he's going to get a good run, but it's just side by side still, so we're just going to have to see how these tires wear towards the end of this race.
Well, Fayash is putting up one heck of a fight in that Tundra, and Dustin Dean basically out with the popcorn right now. He's staying with Fayash down on the bottom side, but I think he can go with whichever line he thinks is going to work right now. Fayash seems to have a little bit better speed off the corner, but Peterson gets the overspeed by the time they get to turn number 3, so it's giving the outside just a little bit of an advantage, and that time Fayash going to get a little bit tight off the corner. Peterson going to go back by him.
And you see Christian Peterson still occupying that top spot. He's just hanging up there and making sure that Fayash has nowhere else to go but below him. And really that top side has come in a lot better. You see the Christian Peterson just get ever so better off the corner. A little bit of contact between the 77 and the 23. Able to keep it straight though, but that could have been catastrophic, Cisco.
Yeah, it could have, but Fayash able to hold on to it, and a little bit of a wiggle from the truck, but that's about it. Dustin Dean, meanwhile, almost looks like he's thinking 3 wide, but I would not recommend that right now. You do not want to be living the 3 wide life here at Myrtle Beach, let me tell you. There is not enough room, and we've seen enough time tonight here to tell you it's not going to work. But meanwhile, battle for that 3rd place position. Ricky Harden down on the inside trying to make it work, trying to get by Dustin Dean, get a nose in there. And now Gerald Campbell has the popcorn out because he can watch all this in front of him.
Yeah, and Jared Campbell just waiting for everything to happen, and maybe just trying to force an issue between the 13 and the 14, trying to keep it in that rearview mirror. And just as I say that, he's closing in ever so slightly, and Andrew Fayash does as well. So those tires still not giving up a fight yet. 50 laps into this run, Cisco.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gerald Campbell came from dead last on the grid right now and is running 5th. So huge credit to that driver of the number 06, the TRD machine. He has done fantastic here at the beach. But Peterson right now still top of the class here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Fayash right there as well. And here comes some lap traffic here, Trevin. This could prove a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, and again, we saw this already happening. You just could use the lap traffic as a pick and just throw a whole entire wrench into this leader situation. We only have 8 cars on the lead lap, actually, so that could cause a lot of trouble as just continuing to lap all these trucks. And I believe now until another caution, at least, he's going to be experiencing lap traffic as the 87 ever so kindly gets out of the way.
Yeah, he didn't want to even be in the same conversation as the battle for the lead right now. But Fayash has just not found the speed he's needed, starting to fall off Peterson's pace a little bit. He's got to turn that around a little bit as they're going to catch. Oh, that was not a great catch there for Fayash, the number 90, the lap down truck of Jeremy Watkins, who's now 4 laps down. That was a terrible place to catch him just off turn number 2.
Yeah, really bad place, wrong time for Fayash. As now it's a 0.7 gap to Christian Peterson. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch him, but maybe just an extra bit of those tires he's going to be able to use, try to run that top side, not as much as that bottom line, but we've seen the top side really dominate here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see. We saw Fayash save some tires earlier. He's gone back up to kind of that middle line, and has Peterson. You see they're not running the extreme bottom anymore. I think it's where it's really noticeable is in turn number 1 and 2. We'll take a look this time on board Fayash. You see Peterson right down to the bottom line there, and no, Fayash is running that as well. So, no, these guys staying on the bottom side. No one really saving their tires here. I'm wondering, Trevin, is Fayash even saving anything, or was that all the truck had?
I think that's all really the truck had, because he's running 2 completely different lines. You can see once he goes into this corner, I've been watching these drivers through the corners for a couple laps now, and Fayash runs that bottom line in 1 and 2, and then kind of that middle line in 3 and 4. You see right now, compared to the number 13 of Ricky Harden, Ricky Harden's all the way on that white line, but Andrew Fayash is in that middle line, as you mentioned.
Well, everybody's kind of split up the rest of the field right now. The closest battle we have going is back for the last place on the lead lap. Tyler Dalton and Mike Rhino, those 2 closest here. And they're actually a lap down. That's not even, well, that will be for position, but it'll be for a position for the first car to get the lucky dog, the wave around here. So Dalton going to try and catch Rhino. That's about half a second or so between them. And then about 4/10 there is the gap between Ricky Harden and Dustin Dean for that 3rd place position. So everybody kind of spread out here, but Harden's starting to reel in Dean a little bit here.
And as we hit lap 160, I believe both trucks that were on pit road, Matthew Murphy and Blake Griffith, have pulled off of the track and pulled it behind the wall, saying that they are going to get it back out in time. A devastating night for both of them, Cisco.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Adams still sitting on pit road as well. He is, for all intents and purposes, parked that truck, still sitting in the truck nonetheless and keeping it out on the racetrack here. But 163 in the books here, and Christian Peterson at the head of the field. We'll take one last time to step away and go LSR TV nonstop so you don't miss a moment of the action. Top 5 right now as they run: Christian Peterson, Andrew Fayash, Dustin Dean, Ricky Harden, and Gerald Campbell. Your top 5 from Myrtle Beach Speedway, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is the American Pool Supply Truck Series right here on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network.
Driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds. Punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different. And the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey, man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh, my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol, and then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Just about 30 laps to go here from Myrtle Beach. As you watch the battle for a second, we welcome you back here to the American Pool Supply Truck Series here on LSR TV, your home for our sim racing. The first of our many races going to be coming up here on the iRacing Esports Network. And of course, coverage of LSR TV and all our series is brought to you by our sponsors and our friends at Joel Real Timing, the official timing sponsor of LSR TV. Whether you spend your time on the pit box in the spotter stand or behind the wheel, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download today. Get the pro version at joel-real-timing.com. JRT, the official timing sponsor of LSR TV. Back going here, Cisco Scaramuza, Trevin Valderrama here to take you to the finish here. Just about 25 laps to go, and well, Christian Peterson has been the story of the night. He's out to about 3 seconds right now. But the question is, Andrew Fayash, who's made his first start here out of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series, is he going to be able to hold off Ricky Harden for that second place spot, Trevin?
I think he will be. I'm watching him run and really just making sure Ricky Harden's behind him, but I think Fayash will be able to take this as a learning experience as how these drivers run, because he really just used that truck up towards the front of it, and once Christian Peterson was able to get around him and get around his first lap traffic car, he had set sail. He has pulled a 3-second gap already, so I feel like Andrew Fayash is going to be able to take this as a learning experience and be able to be better coming into these next races.
Well, he's starting to run out of time a little bit, but definitely lap traffic helping these two out a little bit because it's slowing up Christian Peterson just a tad. But of course, he's clear now. He's that white truck you see up the road just a little bit. You see right in front of us is Andrew Fayash, the SMS truck. Then right in front of them, that's the 54 of Kenny Lowry, and then the 90 of Jeremy Watkins. But Ricky going to try and make the move here to turn number 1. Not going to happen, though, for that unacceptable racing truck. Northern Tool and Equipment on board that, and normally used to seeing that those colors on Tommy Ryan's truck, but Tommy, of course, a teammate to Ricky in that 13.
You see 13 really try to use that bottom line, but he can't get down to the gas as fast as Fayash as yellow comes out in this, as you say, Cisco.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. It's problems, Jeremy Watkins. Bad night turns into a terrible night as that going to signal the end of Watkins' race here this evening. And it was possibly, not sure who that was. That was the 06 of Gerald Campbell. Oh my goodness, after such a good night. Just like that, might just go up in smoke. You see 90 getting to the wall and Gerald just not able to clear him. And ooh, he gets kind of hit in the rear quarter panel there by the 90. Campbell able to continue on, but big time damage to him, and that basically sends the 90 to the garage and back on the wrecker. So Jeremy Watkins going to be done this evening, and Gerald Campbell, for what seemed to be a promising night, started dead last, running 5th. He's going to keep the truck out there right now. He thinks it's still good to go, but some serious damage on the TRD entry.
Yeah, he's just going to have to limp it around, less than 20 laps once this restart happens. So just limp it around and get yourself a good points night. And, coming all the way from the 22nd, I'd say anything inside the top 5 is a win. But we'll have to see how this truck works out. We saw a big hard lick coming out of it, but we'll see how this Jared Campbell truck will be able to handle the rest of the night.
Yeah, absolutely, Trev. And one of the goals here with the iRacing Esports Network is we wanted to show you the best of the leagues and the best of racing that we have to offer here on the sim. And of course, many guys want to find out how they can be a part of the leagues and various series that you see here on the iRacing Esports Network. This, of course, a private league, and you can go over and find out more about joining up and maybe taking part in the American Pool Supply Truck Series or the Cars Esport Tour. You can head to their website at championshipesports.com. That's where you can find out everything you need to know about CEA and their 2 series here on the iRacing Esports Network. And of course, plenty of other series. We saw the 2K World Cup guys over here earlier on this evening, and Will Vincent, the gang behind the scenes there, were making the call. That was at Mid-Ohio, so it was a great race to watch over there. So definitely been a lot of work for us behind the scenes, and of course a lot of work for Drew Adamson as well behind the scenes. And congratulations, of course, to Brian Lockwood, who was able to get the win over at Mid-Ohio in 2K World Cup. But racing, of course, coming to you tonight as well if you're in the States, but if you're out in the Australian kind of area, well, you guys are about to get ready for V8 Scops, going to be coming to you this evening, I believe, right here on the iRacing Esports Network, and of course, that one of the many other leagues that iRacing Esports Network can be bringing you, and it's not V8 Scops, it's the iRacing official V8 Supercar Series. That'll be at 3:15 Eastern. That's AM, by the way, not PM. So I guess if you're a night owl, Trevin, you may want to stay up and watch that. But after that, of course, Monday nights, World of Outlaws. The Craftsman Sprint cars can be taken to the track Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern over right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Pace cars in. Christian Peterson versus Andrew Fayash. Here we go again. Green flag in the air.
And we'll see if Andrew Fayash has anything to give. Christian Peterson as the 13 of Ricky Harden's going to go down to the bottom. We'll see if the tires can last long on Fayash, and it does not look like it, as the 13 is going to go below him.
Yes, he will, and looks like Harden found something that maybe Dustin Dean was kind of struggling a little bit. Dean was in a very similar situation as Harden, but now Harden looks like he's going to be in a better position. So we run through turns 2 and heading towards turn number 3 this time.
And, Christian Peterson is just absolutely loving all this battling going behind him, because the longer they battle, the longer it's going to give the opportunity for Peterson to continue to push his league out into the more seconds. And with the race hindering down to 10 laps to go, he's liking this.
Yeah, he absolutely is, Trevin. And you know what? I don't blame him. The longer these two stay side by side, the more of a gap he's going to be able to get. About 13 laps to go, 14 laps to go once they get to the start-finish line, and it's all Christian Peterson right now. And can anybody stop him is going to be the question here.
That 13 machine really dug it in deep and got high, and that just leaves the window open for this 14 and the 4 to go around. The 13 got really sideways coming out of turn number 2. Really unfortunate lap for him.
These guys right on the edge of control, Trevin, and giving it everything they can to try and catch Christian Peterson. Fayash doing everything he can. He's closed it up to about 8/10. But Ricky Harden there just got a little bit too committed to that bottom side. Truck got out from under him, and just like that, his shot at the win might be over.
He was able to hold it pretty well, but nonetheless, he really lost that shot at second place and even the podium, quite possibly, Cisco.
Absolutely, Trevin. He's going to be fighting back here to try and get back up front. So we head through turns 3 and 4 this time. Now, the question is, can Fayash do anything? He's lost about 2/10 this time. So he's going to have to turn that around to try and get back to Christian Peterson. Going to be 10 to go at the line.
I think that Peterson just has too much of a gap. He spent too much time battling with Ricky Harden. Fayash just has no more time left. With this such small track and only 2 spots to get something done, it's going to be really hard for him to continue, as the 13 and the 4 still battle it out.
That's the gap. You see it right there, Christian Peterson on your screen, and then right to the right side, you just see the edge of Andrew Fayash. His truck not able to keep up. It's now 1.5 back to him, and the gap only gaining here is less than 10 to go. And James Grahula, meanwhile, we saw kind of the corner of the screen. He was able to get by Ricky Harden for that fourth position, rather. Ricky Harden going to fall back to 5th. And hello, John Theodore was involved in an accident earlier on. And that truck has worked his way back through this field, back up to 6th. And he's looking for more. Try and get 5th away from Ricky Harden. No, bounce it off the wall there.
Yeah, and as we talked about that last incident with Jared Campbell, he's going to have to try and position himself back up into that top 5, but I don't think his truck just has enough in it to keep on going. And
you say that.
Well, he's going to give it all he's got, with really taking advantage of John Theodore's mistake going into the front stretch the lap ago. He's battling it out, but I believe we're 1 lap away from the point of no return if there is a caution coming out.
Yeah, once the caution comes out, it'll be over, and these guys won't be able to get it re-green here. No green-white checkered in effect here this evening from Myrtle Beach, and just like that, 6 laps to go, and if the caution were to come out now, they may get 1 lap at it, but 2 laps from now, it's going to be all in the books one way or another for Christian Peterson, who is driving away from this field. It's now 2.6 back to Andrew Fayash. Christian Peterson, he's gone.
He has put on an absolute clinic once he got to the front of the field, and week in, week out, That's just what he does, and going to be a great point tonight for him to catch his teammate, Seth the Merchant.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevin. And 5 laps to go now at the start-finish line. Going to be 4 to go now this time for Christian Peterson. Came into tonight 40 points behind his teammate Seth the Merchant, like you said. Could make a bunch of that up here tonight. And off turn number 2, the battle continues for that second place spot. Battle for the rest of the podium is on. Dustin Dean is at the rear bumper of Andrew Fash, but caution gonna fly. That could end it right here. Problems, possibly. Looking back in your field, Gerald Campbell, possibly.
Yeah, and that's just really unfortunate timing. I'm sure Andrew Fash.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he's watching him going to turn number 1. He just tried to dig it in too deep and got a little bit too hard on the brakes and tried to continue to hold it, but it was coming out of turn 2 and he got into the wall and nearly missed that car on the bottom side.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. Trevin may have to queue up driver radios here with Christian Peterson running admin. Green-white checkered normally is possible in this series when Kyle Barnes is here, but Kyle isn't with us this evening. Having some family issues. We wish him and the entire Barnes family the best, but we'll have Trevin listen to driver radio here and see if we can find out if we are going to have an attempt at the green-white checkered, because it may be in effect here. Trevin, what you got?
There will be no green-white checkered finish. This will be it. Christian Peterson will be declared the winner.
Well, just like that, Christian Peterson, he's going to be able to pace it home here. White flag going to be out this time, and well, it was dominating, Trevin. He's going to lead 132 laps here at Myrtle Beach, and we knew coming into tonight he was going to have a long day to make up those positions. Started 16th, but he'll finish on top step. Great run for Christian Peterson, and a great run for Andrew Fash, too.
Yeah, great run for him, starting 3rd. Able to work his way up to the front for a little bit in that first stint, but just couldn't get the job done between Christian Peterson and himself. So hats off to him, finishing 2nd and able to hold on against all of these guys that he's new to and just be able to learn all of these guys and what they do around this track. But congratulations to Christian Peterson on a great night.
Round number 11 going to go to CP, or round number 13, our 11th race on the season, this being round number 13. CP's gonna win it, and once again back on top, 6th man. Can anybody stop them? We'll find out, but we'll find out next time out at Gateway Motorsports Park. But before we have Gateway, we still have post-race interviews, we still have our full race rundown, we still have a lot to get through here on the LSRTV post-race show, so stick with us. We'll be right back here on the iRacing Esports Network and your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Christian Peterson gonna burn it down. He's your winner at the beach.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Back live here from Myrtle Beach Speedway, Christian Peterson on top of the world as he gets the win here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in the American Pool Supply Truck Series. And as always, coverage of the American Pool Supply Truck Series is brought to you by our title sponsor, well, they're American Pool Supply. And of course, American Pool Supply is a wholesale distributor of pool and landscaping products. We serve pool maintenance, resorts, apartment complexes, and HOAs in the Las Vegas area. Learn more by visiting them on Facebook and American Pool Supply LV. Full race results here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Right now on top of the board. Alrighty. Well, that broke. So we won't be able to show you that one. But instead, what we can do is run you through what we can see from here. Christian Peterson going to bring home the victory. Trevin, Andrew Fash going to finish second. Dustin Dean going to finish third. James Grahula fourth. Ricky Harden fifth. John Theodore going to finish sixth. Seventh to Kenny Lowry. Then eighth to Gerald Campbell. Ninth to Tyler Dalton. Jarek Paulson rounds out the top 10. Trevin, take the rest.
Okay, I love those curveballs. 11th will go to Reese Bayham, Mike Rhino, P12. P13 will go to Jeremy Watkins, Matthew Murphy, P14, Jeremy Adams, P15. 16 will go to Blake Griffith, Todd Novosad, P17, P18, Paul Henley, Stephen Hollingworth, P19, P20, William Kemp, Cal Manger, 21st, and rounding out your 22 car field, John McNaka.
Well, that was certainly an interesting curveball, Trevin, but we're now going to stand by with the guy who was fighting curveballs all evening long and was able to hold on to it. And that's Christian Peterson. Caught up with him in victory lane. And CP, you're back on top. It's a fabulous points day for you and possibly going to be able to take away the championship lead from your teammate, but great run for you here at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was pretty much screwed up my qualifying lap and then just kind of drove through the field in the first half. And I wasn't expecting to pull away from Andrew like I did, but he and whoever was in third, seemed to race pretty hard every time I got out front, so that might have helped a little bit. But it just really good on the bottom and kind of driving it like the super truck when we ran that Myrtle Beach series here a couple months back.
And we talked about the experience factor, Christian, and of course you have plenty of laps here at Myrtle Beach. They call this the cheese grater in real life because what it does to tires. What was your strategy to try and combat that here?
I was literally letting off at the start finish line going into 1 and 3, just kind of drive straight and on the brakes, and then and just drive easy around the bottom and get on the gas in a straight line as straight as you could. But that was pretty much what I was doing, and not trying to arc it and really abuse the right sides. Just kind of trying to get all that energy and all that aggressive stuff done in a straight line.
Well, a bit of a break for us coming up here with Majors coming back into action. We'll see a Gateway coming up next. Size up that racetrack. What's that looking like for you?
I don't know. I haven't ran there in a while, so that should be fun. But I hope some guys show up that showed up this week, like Andrew and Ricky. And I think Ricky hasn't been here in a few weeks, and it was the first time I seen Andrew. So it'd be nice if those guys show up again. And I know we got a couple short tracks here for the next couple weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, trying to get back on a roll here. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're sitting in a very good position points-wise, regardless of if you take the lead or not. You're going to be right next to Seth going in to Gateway. Sponsors, shout-outs. Who gets it done for you in that 23 machine?
Just everybody at CEA and Six Man, like always. Those guys have a lot of fun with them. And then just everybody that shows up every week for the races. You guys at LSR TV and Kyle for what he does, and then everybody at home, my mom and dad, and everybody else watching.
Let's CP gets the victory here from Myrtle Beach. We'll see you at Gateway there, Christian. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
So he'll get the win, and we'll pass things down to Trevin, who will catch up with Andrew Fash.
Down here with the number 77, starting third, finishing second, Andrew Fash the third. Andrew, walk us through your first race here with the CEA Truck Series.
Oh man, I fooled myself at the beginning of the race. Practice and qualifying, I thought, all right, this is gonna be, a really tough battle up front. I'm really gonna have to work to have a shot. And then the way that first run went, I caught Ricky a lot quicker than I thought I would. I've raced with Ricky before a while back, but I know he's really good at short tracks. And when I got by him and started getting a gap, and I knew how far back third was, I thought, well, this I've definitely got a shot now. And I got a false sense of security on myself. Christian didn't qualify, and he had me well covered. And then the end of the race, I burned my stuff up there trying to figure out how to run like he was, and then figure out where he was giving up time. And I don't think he was anywhere.
Yeah, we were watching you guys fight tooth and nail, but once you saw Christian Peterson start to run away with you, was that basically the point where you said, all right, I got to conserve, and I got to make sure these drivers behind me do not get in front of me? Because we saw you running a lot of different lines in turn 1 compared to turn 3.
I didn't go into conserve mode. I went into searching for something better than the leader, because up to that point, I'd been trying to mimic his line and improve on it, and I couldn't even mimic it. Like I said, he was on point. So I thought, well, he's been hugging the bottom most of the time and getting good runs off. So I thought, let me try a couple different lines, see if I could get better momentum somewhere, because the track rubbers up and builds heat where people are running. So I figured if there were enough people on the bottom, maybe the middle would come in a little better there at the end. And he wasn't searching, so I tried to, and I didn't have anything left. And then suddenly my mirror was starting to get full of a few different trucks there.
It was for sure entertaining to watch you battle on with these new guys to you. But what Christian Peterson wants to know, and what we want to know is, will you be returning to the series following this one and continue to race on throughout the season?
Oh yeah, I plan to be here every week. There might be 1 or 2 races I miss throughout the season. I work as I have a side job as a videographer for some real races, and I know there's a couple of Sunday shows, so I might end up missing a couple of races, but I should be here for most of it. I definitely plan on showing up when I can. I had a blast tonight. We had a string of bad yellows there a couple times in the night, but you're gonna have that at short tracks. You could do that, and then the way we started the race, we had like a 40-lap run, and with the same group of guys. So it's just circumstance sometimes. So I don't. It seems like there's a really good group of guys racing here, and even for little stuff, when Christian got loose after he passed me the first time in the race, he got really loose out of 2, and I checked up, and the 14 didn't have much visibility towards it, and he checked up, and we all got through there without making any contact. And when you see stuff like that, everybody's heads up racing, and that's that's a good sign of a good group of drivers and good set of talent.
Yeah, it was talent all the way around, fighting hard. But before we let you go, Andrew, any sponsor shout-outs? Who gets it done for that number 77 machine?
Yeah, I just recently picked up Toyota, which is amazing, but very fresh, and not all the details are hammered out yet, but just picked them up recently, and it's great to have them on board. I'm really excited to be driving the Toyotas and representing a bit, and I got to thank Sim Marketing Solutions for supporting me throughout peak when I didn't have a sponsor, and then helping me get that sponsorship. They definitely helped set that stuff up and help handle a lot of that stuff, and they're really good at what they do. They're definitely is about as dedicated as you'll have a group of people with it. So definitely got to thank them. And I do live stream, so if you got multiple monitors and you're watching these races, put it up on the second monitor, but broadcast first, because having the announcers and the proper camera angles is way better than watching some random driver's in car. But I do have a Twitch channel up, and it's on the deck lid there, AJFA77. So if you have multiple monitors, check it out. If not, watch the broadcast.
All right, we're excited to see you upcoming weeks and in the Peak Antifreeze series. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, guys.
That was the number 77 of Andrew Fayash, and now moving on to the third place, starting fourth, finishing third, is the number 14 of Dustin Dean. Dustin, how was the tires on that truck, and when did it start to feel like it went away?
Well, I ran a whole lot harder the second half of the race, and so they went away quicker. I'd say probably about 50 to go. You could tell they really started wearing down. You really couldn't get into the gas like you could the first half of that run.
Yeah, absolutely. And, coming into tonight, you were 16th in points, and I'm sure this top three finish will help you project further up into this. So what is your plan to just keep on moving up into the standings and try to get to the top 10, top 5 in the points?
Yeah, that's my goal, was top 10 at least. Man, it started out great in Daytona. We finished second, and we just had some bad strings of luck there with getting into accidents that wasn't really caused by us. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Trying to finish up front and get back to the top 10 at least. That's the goal.
Yeah, with the CEA Truck Series, we talk so much about the different track places that you guys go to. Of course, this is one of the major ones on the series, but next you guys go to Gateway and then South Boston, and then just all these different kinds of tracks that you wouldn't see a traditional truck go on. So what are you thinking, and how do you prepare for this kind of racing?
Well, I think that it all goes back to the roots of NASCAR, and that's short tracks. And so I know Gateway's a little bit bigger, but it's still a short tracks, and that's what provides the good action. Like you saw tonight, it was a great race tonight. I wish it would have went green there at the end. I think I would have picked up second. I would have tried at least. But no, I really like the short tracks. It makes for action, and you're on the edge of your seat the whole race. I was loose so many times, it seemed like out of every corner.
I nearly jumped out of my seat a couple times seeing you guys go three wide into each corner, but just absolutely great racing all night long, as you pointed out. But before we let you go, Dustin, anybody sponsor shoutouts, who gets it done for the number 14 machine?
Yeah, my wife works for Unique, and they've hopped on board with us and helped us run. Also, I know my father-in-law, Ken Mooney's out there watching somewhere what's going on, and appreciate everybody that's watching out there tonight.
All right, thank you, Dustin, and hope to talk to you in a few weeks' time for another podium position.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too. All right, that's our top finishers. Thanks again for them stepping down for a second and talking to us. Cisco, back to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Trevin, and another fantastic night of racing here, and decent kickoff night for us here on the iRacing Esports Network. Of course, plenty of racing we've seen so far here, and plenty more racing to come, so lots of people we have to say thank you to. Of course, got to thank the entire staff over at iRacing, and specifically Drew Adamson and the entire social media crew over there, and thank you to them for allowing us to bring CEA to you guys. Coming up next for us here on LSR TV, well, Monday night, we're going back to Full Throttle Racing. Full Throttle Cup Series back in action, and they're going to be hitting the high banks, and looking forward to that one here coming up Monday night at 9:30 Eastern. Of course, here on the iRacing Esports Network, you can see, like I said, the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series is going to be on tap there, and if you want more iRacing action, make sure to subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. And, well, if you want to follow some of our stuff, well, you can find us on all the social medias. Of course, if you want the full broadcast schedule, you can go to www.iRacing or www.livesimracing.com, and there you can get the broadcast schedule. Shoot us a subscribe over on Facebook. We're on over there. Shoot us a like, rather. I'm getting all my social medias mixed up because we got to thank so many people. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, LSR TV. Send us a like on Facebook. Like us on Twitter. And we're still working on that Instagram. We might have to make that happen, Trevin. I don't know. But great night of racing here nonetheless. What's your takeaway?
We just had so much side-by-side action, as I pointed out, three wide as well. It's exactly what I thought a short track race would be, and it was nothing short of amazing. A few cautions here and there, but for the most part, great racing all around, and I loved it, Cisco.
Absolutely. Well, for Evan Pisoko, DJ Lyon, and Laura Lawson, everybody behind the scenes at LSR TV, and for the broadcast crew tonight, for myself, Cisco Scaramuza, and Trevin Valderrama, we say good night from the Myrtle Beach Speedway, and we'll see you around the turn. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.